In recent videos, we've been discussing David's words in 1 Chronicles chapter 15 and verse 13, when Uzzah was struck dead for touching the Ark of the Covenant. When they put the Ark on a cart and brought it into Jerusalem, David recognized his error, and he recognized that he did not seek God after the due order. So we've been making some videos, and we have been using this phrase, due order, and making various points pertaining specifically to New Testament Christianity and why this is important for us. So today we want to talk about this for just a few minutes as it pertains to due order, pertaining to God's authority, right? So pertaining to the authority that God has, that he has vested in his word, and the very principle of authority. So that is central to David's statement that if he would have sought God if he would have sought God's authority in the first place, and if they would have followed the instructions Moses gave back in Numbers chapter 3 to the sons of Kohath to bear the ark on their shoulders, they would have never had it on a cart in the first place, and poor Uzzah wouldn't have died, right? So central to that concept is the principle of authority. So as we're talking about authority, we need to understand that when God says do things this way, he means do them that way. And I'm just going to give you three quick examples in the Old Testament. In 1 Samuel chapter 15, Saul is told by Samuel to go to Amalek and to destroy man, woman, and child, everybody. They are to wipe them out. Saul goes and he spares the king and he spares certain of the livestock. And we all remember what Saul says to him as he rebukes him. And he says, to obey is better than to sacrifice, right? And to hearken than the fat of the ram. So God authorized complete destruction of Amalek's people. And Saul did something else. Therefore, it was unacceptable, right? God means what he says. In Numbers chapter 20, Moses was told to speak to the rock, and the water would come forth out of the rock, and then he would provide water for the children of Israel there in the desert. Well, we know that Moses doesn't speak to the rock because he gets aggravated with the nation of Israel, and he strikes the rock, right? God tells him specifically in that context, because you believe me not to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, he tells Moses that he will not set foot in the land of Canaan. God specifically authorized speaking to the rock, and Moses struck the rock. Therefore, he disobeyed, right? So are we seeing this is a very common theme as it relates to God's authority and him meaning exactly what he says? I'll give you one more. In 2 Chronicles chapter 26, there's a king by the name of Uzziah. He's a good king. He's a king over Judah. And it says that there was a time in which his heart deceived him. He thought everything was going really well, so he wants to go and he wants to offer incense to God. But if you remember way back around Exodus chapter 28, you'll see that a very specific lineage was authorized by God to act as priest and to burn incense. And King Uzziah happened to not be a Levite, so he was not authorized to do so. So even though it was spoken of many, many, many centuries before, God was absolutely serious about his authority when he said that only the priest could offer. So the priest opposed King Uzziah, and King Uzziah is actually struck by leprosy, or struck by God with leprosy, and he's not even able to be buried with his own people. So he died a leper, right? So God was very, very serious about his authority, and those who would be his children, they must seek his authority. So today, in Matthew 28, verse 18, it's Jesus would say, all authority has been given unto me. Jesus has all authority. So it's what Jesus says, not what you want, not what I think. It's what Jesus says. So Jesus expects us to be mindful of his authority and be the kind of folks that seek his authority in everything we do. That's exactly what Paul means in Colossians 3 and verse 17. In everything you do, in word and deed, do all in the name of the Lord. That doesn't mean we can go fly a kite and say Jesus, Jesus, and that's acceptable. It means that if we are to do something in matters of religion, we must find that Jesus has authorized that action by his word. Reference Romans 12, 1 and 2, Ephesians 5:10. And 1 Thessalonians 5 and verse 21. Now, we're going to keep considering this principle as we go further into this concept. We're going to look at it in light of New Testament Christianity's principles, right? So in light of the plan of salvation, in light of worship, in light of God's plan for the church, in light of even the oversight of the church and how they must be scripturally organized. So hope that you've enjoyed this short video with these thoughts, and I hope that you'll continue to watch these as we are speaking about this important principle and the principle of authority and how God means exactly what he says. If you disagree with us, that's okay. Email us at freeportcoc@gmail.com. Comment on our videos if you want to discuss things further, or if you want a specific topic to be covered, let us know and we'll be happy to do so. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.